Today we're going to discuss graphing in standard form. So again, we're going to be talking about parabolas. So let's review some of the things that we know about parabolas. Parabolas are in the form where we have an x squared, and we've talked about vertex form before. Vertex form is y minus k equals a times x minus h quantity squared. So let me give you an example. If I have y minus 3 equals 2 times x plus 1 quantity squared. Let's review what we know already about in vertex form. Vertex form, our vertex would be a negative 1, 3. We have a line of symmetry, right at x equals negative 1. This points up. There's our vertex. We would go up 2 over 1. We have our linear symmetry. And this point here would be called the vertex. We're also going to call that vertex point what we would call a minimum, because this is the low point of this graph. So hopefully you remember some things about parabolas in vertex form. Today we're going to look at a vertex in what's called standard form, and standard form is a little different. It'll be in the form ax squared plus bx plus c. And again, some of these points a, b, and c will tell us something about the parabola. Again, we know it's a parabola because it's an x squared. Let's identify these values first. So if I have a 3x squared minus 5x plus 1, what would a, b, and c equal? Or if I have a y equals negative 1/2 x squared plus 4x minus 6, what would a, b, and c equal? So again, hit stop and then see if you can identify what those coefficients are. The coefficients of a is the number in front of the x squared. The b is the coefficient in front of the x. And the c is the coefficient that is just a constant. Okay. In the second example, a would equal a negative 1/2, b will equal a 4, and c would equal a negative 6. So in standard form, we're able to tell a few things, and the things that we're going to be able to tell are the y-intercept. The y-intercept is when x equals 0. So if x equals 0, in example number 1, when x equals 0, y would equal 1. In number 2, if x equals 0, these go away, and y is going to equal a negative 6. So in general, we're going to be able to look at this parabola and see that the y-intercept is just 0. C will be a point on our graph, and we'll call that the y-intercept. The 0, 6, or 0C is where it's going to cross the y-axis. Okay. In a parabola, we're going to need the vertex. So the vertex has a H point and it has a K point. But in standard form, we're not given H and K. So we've got to go find it. So we have a different formula for this, and the formula is to find the H value, we take minus B all over 2A. Okay. So again, remember what B is? B is the coefficient of the x. A is the coefficient of the x squared term. So I want to find the vertex. Let's do problem number 1. So problem number 1's vertex H is going to equal the opposite of B. So I'd get a positive 5 all over 2 times 3. So the vertex would happen at exactly 5, 6. Okay. So that will only give us our first point in our vertex. We'll find out the second point in a second. But let's go do number 2 and see how we're going to use this formula. Okay, so in example number 2, we plug in the h value is going to be the opposite of b. The opposite of b is a -4. All over 2, it's always 2, times a, and a's value is a -1/2 in this example. Okay. So -4, half of 2 is 1, so we'd have a -1. So the vertex x point will be a negative divided by a negative will be a +4. How are we going to get the y point? The y point we're going to get by plugging it back in. Write yourself a note. The k, well, is the y coordinate we get by plugging in the x value, the x coordinate, back into the original equation. So again, hit stop. So I started off with a lot of notes so far. So when we have a y equals ax squared plus bx plus c, we'll be able to tell the y-intercept, we'll be able to tell the vertex, we'll be able to tell the line of symmetry, and we'll also be able to tell whether the parabola opens up or down. So if a is positive, which another way of writing that, if a is greater than 0, this says is positive, we'll have a parabola that opens up. If a is negative, then that's the way we write this, we'll have a parabola that opens down. Okay. So again, let's write these notes down. I'll give you the example of problems in a different video, but these are just the notes that you'll need to do specific problems in standard form.